All right. Hello there, everyone. This is a new channel. I know it's kind of weird if you're finding this video. I decided to make this channel and talk about a specific dream I had, but not only that, a couple other things that are pretty much happening in the world, I guess, in my opinions and things like that. And I'm not sure where I'll go with this channel, but for now, I want to get this video out and at least speak with everyone, I guess, and see where we should take this channel, I guess. Sorry about that. But I don't know. I just had a feeling. It's probably, honestly, this is the worst day to do this video, in my opinion. There's a lot going on, and I just, it couldn't be the worst time in the world, pretty much, I guess. But life is weird, I guess, and there's something I saw today too, that kind of just, and it's something that happened too today that it just made me feel like I had to finally just get out into doing this and move forward in a way, I guess. So I wanted to speak about that, I guess, or a couple things really, like I have on this list right here. As you can see, the main thing is this dream, but I've had several dreams, and I'm always up to talk about any of those dreams. And if anyone wants to talk about their dreams, I'm always welcome to speak about them as well. Like I said, I don't know where this channel's going. This might be the only video I do for this channel. So if you are wanting to keep this channel going, do let me know. I don't mind reading your dreams. I don't mind reading other things that are creative, like writing and stuff like that, because this channel is called Dreamers, and I want it to be a channel, if it does continue, to bring somewhat of a different opinion to this world, I guess. Something that's just different, I suppose. Something that's not just negative in all its negativity, that it's been, especially lately. And I added this music, just in hopes to give it a little more something else, not just me talking, and that was it. But let me just jump right into why I started this, which was that dream. I don't know why I had this dream or what it's really about. Like I said, a bunch of stuff's happened, but this dream I had, it was just about me having something taken. I'm not sure. Somebody was trying to convince me of selling something. And at the time, which was like last week, maybe, or yeah, it was last week. Everything happened in this span of a week. Last week in particular, into the beginning of this weekend or so. And it was just weird because around the Tuesday or Wednesday, that's either the first or the second, I believe, is when I had this dream. Right? And like I said, I didn't have anything to sell. I didn't have hold of anything, no money or anything like that in particular that could be considered something that could be taken away. Yet I had this dream about this very particular person trying to convince me very seriously to sell whatever it was I had. And it kind of stuck with me, and it still sticks with me, because on that same day, I had decided to buy something. There was a real strong feeling of buying something, and at the time, I had been listening to all these videos about, what are they, the crypto and stuff like that, with the spiritual Christians, on everybody talking about, oh, the wealth transfer and all this other stuff, and I was just like, okay, I don't really believe in crypto, believe it or not. I don't really trust crypto, you know what I mean? It's always been a sketchy thing for me. I know you can make millions and billions depending on how you play the game, the game. It's just like the stock market, pretty much, from in my opinion. You risk it to gain something, and there was no way I was gonna do that at the time. That's why I was like, I'm just gonna keep it at the back of my head. They're talking about this. Maybe I can put in $1 or something, if, you know, in hopes, yeah, maybe something will happen. But that dream in particular made me push forward into actually kind of doing it. It was kind of a weird dream, and Um, it wasn't just that though. As me as a person, I feel like I'm more spiritual than I am Christian. Even though I've grew up and you know we were considered Christian family, and stuff like that. I didn't feel I was particularly, how do you say it, as motivated as them, or like I didn't feel that things were at that time for me. You know what I mean? And the more I went on in life, the more I felt the way I could identify as was more of a spiritual person. I believe in certain things. I believe in this and that, and there are certain things about Christianity and stuff like that and other religions that make sense, like there being so-called one God. You know what I mean? And that's what a lot of people believe in. And me as a person, again, I've always felt that I've been protected. So, again, I personally, sometimes people would consider me crazy if I said it, but I talk to myself. I talk to whoever it is that I feel like is protecting me, a guardian, a protector, something like that. And I always speak with them. And so, in a way, you can consider that praying, or like when I speak to them, the same thing like Christians and other people do, they pray, right? I would consider myself praying to that person or their God or their leader, you know what I mean? And that's who I would believe in, and personally myself, And again, I decided I had this thing that I used to see when I was a child. Since I'm older now, I would always see things when I was younger moving in the dark. I was always fearful of the dark, you know what I mean? And I didn't like it. I always thought something was moving, and to my eyes, something was moving, and it terrified me to death, pretty much, that I would cry, and that's why I always feared the dark, and even now, and I still kind of fear it at times. But in particularly last week, everything's happening in this short span of time, right? I said I want to see whatever it was I used to see. I said it to the person I always talk to, whether you consider it myself or whatever. And I said, I want to see that sight again, those eyes, whatever I had back then. And believe it or not, again, right here, for 2 nights, back to back, I woke up actually terrified. It was weird because, again, that's not normal, especially after I had requested that and said that. That's why I was like, maybe I caused that to happen, I asked specifically for sight, some kind of sight that I thought, whatever it was back then, maybe I'm ready for it, whatever it was, if that was something, And yet, those 2 times in a row, I woke up terrified. It wasn't till the second time where I went back to sleep the second night, after waking up, again, immediately after, that I woke up and I was fine. But I could no longer sleep that same day. So I had stayed up literally the whole day, or night, I guess you could say, into the next day. And then I eventually went to sleep. Yeah. So that's why again, like I was saying, I don't know what to consider all of this stuff happening. That's why I made this channel, and to just talk about my opinions on things and these streams. Which again, all this stuff is happening in a weird way. But since I was going with that, again, I wanted to talk about this transfer, in my opinion, like what is going on with that, and like a couple things about what's just going on in the world, right? You see, in my opinion, this transfer, I don't know if it's real. I can't tell you to do it because I'm still unsure, because, well, all I have are my feelings, my feelings about what I consider things to be, and like this gut feelings that I always feel. And like I said, that gut feeling, especially after that dream, was to buy something, because something was telling me it was going to be, someone was trying to steal it, and a lot of videos I have seen, there are a couple that have mentioned that, where they're trying to take it away from you. And it kind of makes sense more after that dream, even though they're more considered identifies themselves as Christians, and I'm more considered spiritual. We align with some of the same ideas and stuff like that, like I said. And just this transfer and all the things they've been saying kind of makes sense after I seen more things about it, because they're not asking you to invest in like these high $100 stocks or like crypto things or Bitcoin or Ethereum or anything that's like thousands and thousands of dollars. What they're asking you or telling you to do are these particular ones that are like less than $1, less than 1 cent. Actually, it's more of a 0.0000, and then like a 1 9 or something like that, and let me just show you an example. I'm gonna pull up mine, like this ship coin that they had always been talking about. It's literally 1 2 3 4 5 right now, and it's literally 9. This is actually one of the cheaper ones when it's like this at 9 or 8 that I've noticed that. Let me see. Go about a month, and then there was this dip actually. I believe it was on the 9th. Yeah, it shows it the 9th, right? There was this huge dip in their crash. Everything crashed. And that's the other thing that's kind of convincing people now. Maybe something is going on, but the other thing was like certain people gave dates, which is never a good thing, in my opinion, because you can't actually give a date if they've never told you a date. They just guessed the date, you know what I mean? And some of them have said that themselves. They only feel it's on this particular day, but they never gave an actual date. But because of that, a lot of people were expecting things, you know what I mean? And I don't believe anything, if something starts, isn't gonna start until next month in December, or like in 2023 in general, because that's when I at least expect a lot of things to happen. In general, with seeing like a lot of changes in general and stuff like that, especially with people's lives. But if you look even more into this, you see how it's gone down even more. That's why I'm saying it's not as expensive now compared to before either. See, this was 4, and then even at its cheapest, I believe it was 7. See, yeah, around 7. So right now, the fact that it's 9-ish still, and I had bought it even higher up, believe it or not. But if you get even $1 worth, that's a couple 100,000, I think. If it actually does change to like 1 cent or $1, I'm not sure which one I had did my math with in particular, but that's the one that's the reason like people are saying, oh, you should invest in this, and why they're saying, like some of them are saying, this particular thing, like you don't need a lot to do it, you know what I mean? But it's just whether or not it's going to happen, and that's the other thing. Let me go here real quick, because the other one they say is XLM, which is Stellar Luminous. And again, I don't know if anybody's ever heard of this one, but this is actually, apparently, when I learned more about it, digital silver. And the weirdest thing is, for the longest time, months and months and months, right now, I have always felt that I should get silver. I don't know why. It always was in the back of my head. I should get silver. And I never did. And that's what's kind of weird, right? I never got the silver, even though I said I should get silver. But after learning more about all this stuff and seeing the price of silver even go up, it's starting to hit that, yeah, some people are kind of worried, even more so, But what caught me off guard was this. Like I said, this is considered digital silver, which is literally 9 cents right now for buying it. I think I bought $10 worth, and it's like 100 or something of whatever this is. Yeah, 100. And I only gave like $10. Yeah, $10. It's gone down, of course, like I said, but at the time I was just like, oh yeah, whatever, I gotta get this for some weird reason, like I said. And it recently had a crash, and people are expecting either it's gonna have another crash or it's gonna go up super strong all of a sudden. And if you look at the graphs again, It was at 20 cents. It was at, what is this, 7 cents. And the highest it's ever been is 7 cents again. And these are still good numbers, honestly. 70 cents. My bad. I'm reading this wrong. But imagine you put a couple in right now, right? And it does reach 70 cents again, which again, it's done it twice already. That's a good chunk of money, believe it or not. And even if you don't want to invest in a lot of things, you don't have to. I'm not going to tell you where to go or do this, right? I'm just giving my opinion on what I'm seeing. And let me just show you the biggest crash, especially with this Bitcoin one. If you look, what is it, this year, whatever, right here, right? It was at a top of 21,000, and in the economy or Bitcoin crashed because people were taking a bunch of money out and they're suspecting it's banks and stuff, and it went down to 15,000 compared to 21,000 in just a couple days right there. You see that? From the 5th down to the 9th, it hit an all-time low, which is kind of crazy because look, again, it hasn't been like that in a while. Look, still, it's been forever. It's been since 2020-ish when it hit something like that near the end. And since then it's only grown, right? It used to be cheaper back when it was originally starting off again. But yeah, again, I don't know about if you should invest or not. There's a bunch of different ones and apps and things like that you can get it from. And the thing is, they're all different. Some recommend you get one, some recommend you get multiple, because if something happens, and you can't get it out, which is like Robinhood right here, this is actually known for, having limits on the stock markets and stuff like that, where they will stop you from being able to buy or sell any of it. And some people are also worried about that. I got a different one as well, which let me just bring it over real quick, right here. And because of that, I wanted to talk about Luna, believe it or not. It's called LUNC, Terra Classic. It's called Luna though, apparently, because it had a different version called Luna. But if you were to ask me which one to invest in, personally, I would say Luna. And the reason why I'm only saying this, or saying you should do it, if you do it compared to SHIB or any of these other ones they're saying, is because, again, I go from experience and what I see and what I feel. In one day, I had several occurrences of Luna appearing on the phone. And what I mean by that is, unfortunately, it was one of those alerts, and the person's name was Luna. Well, at least their last name. And it happened several times, and that's not normal, That's really not normal for me or anybody over here, And I was like, okay, that's a bit strange, but maybe it means something along that line, maybe, because I was looking at this chart, right, right here, and looking at it, and I was like, oh, maybe it's referring to this because I was looking at it and stuff like that. And then the next day, again, I saw Luna several different times. And I don't know about you, but it's not normal. Again, you know what I mean? That's just not normal. So that's why, compared to all of the other ones, I feel like this particular one, Luna, is probably the best one to get, only because I'm being told it in a weird way. And I believe there's no such thing as coincidences like that, just over and over and over again when certain things happen. And I've started to look at numbers and stuff like that. I didn't used to, but I've kind of used them in a weird way. And I know a lot of people don't like to use them because numbers could be considered evil or stuff like that, or used in the wrong way, demonic and some stuff like that. I know some people do believe that, and I don't believe it's used like that all the time. It can be used in various different ways. It can be confusing sometimes if you don't know what to look for, which I understand, because they say, confusion is like a way that the enemy works or whatever, because that's not what they're meant to do. It's not, they're not trying to confuse you when you know, whether it's they consider it their angels or God themselves, you know, they're not trying to confuse you. And I get it, I understand it, because even me looking at it sometimes I'm like confused. That doesn't make sense, you know. Show me something else if you're really trying to show me something, you know. And yeah, I just use it as a marker, I guess, a way of looking into things, because it does, in my opinion, if you search some of them up sometimes, they do mean certain things, you know. It's not just random mumbo jumbo. And if you see it 5 times in a row, come on, that's weird coincidence, you know what I mean? So that's why I've started to slowly believe more in things and numbers, and from, just like I said, a bunch of different stuff that I've experienced in life had led me to be considered more spiritual like. But again, when it comes to this, look, if you look at this, it's usually in the 20s, right? And in 1 month, right? 20s. And then all of a sudden it goes down to 19. I think 18 or 19 is kind of like the lowest it's gotten lately. It says right here the lowest is a 15. By the way, this is called Uphold, which is another one I kind of got. And I've got a couple other ones that I've considered, but yeah, I've considered this one a decent one, only because it's got more on there. See, the other one, Robinhood or whatever, doesn't have Luna, and it doesn't have XRP, which is another one they talk about. And I don't know about XRP. It's kind of like, it doesn't seem like it's the one for me personally. You know what I mean? It's 30 something cents. It's been almost 40 cents, I think, or something. Yeah, it's been almost $1. It's been $1, my bad. And in the past year, and a low of 28 cents, it looks like. But I listened to one of the reports on actually what XRP was. Believe it or not, the person who made XLM, or the digital silver right here, originally was working on XRP with the people there. I'm not sure if he was one of the founders or whatever, and he jumped over and made his own XLM and did it like that. But apparently that's who this one is. This creator is that made that currency. He was from XRP. Anyways, XRP is also apparently originating from olden time, it seems like, from what I watched a video about or something like that. And what happened was, it was one of the first digital currencies back in the day. And this is like medieval times or something, like way back, like way back, like when there was no such thing as the internet or, you know, any of that stuff, you know? And there was a lot of inconveniences back then. But what happened is, this very famous person got all the bankers, all the traders, and like all these people that held money in general, like, and made pretty much a bank. But they would lend out money that didn't have like money, you know, like, we know you're good for the payment, right? Pretty much is what they would do. They would write something down. They knew all the places that this person owned, knew who these people were, and anywhere around the world that they would stop at these locations, they could take out the currency of that country, or take out a loan and then just pay them back. And that's what eventually became, I guess, what looked like the first bank that had digital currency, which is kind of interesting because, like I said, they were always good. These people knew who these people were that were always going in there, you know what I mean? And that's what XRP is, or is trying to be again. They took on the name, they took on their beliefs, I guess, and systems and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm not really sure. Anyways, that's what that is. And SHIB, Luna, which is this one, and then Stellar right here, and then XRP are the ones they're usually talking about when it comes to this transfer, digital wealth transfer, all this, and they're telling you to invest into it, kind of. I've only done it, like I said, because I had that weird feeling that somebody was trying to tell me to sell in that dream, and I didn't have anything at the time. But again, I had that strong urgency after that, and yeah, it was just weird, right? But I know there's a couple other ones that I feel like are also there. I think it was like Flow or something like that. And then there was talk of a different one. I forgot what it was. There was this particular one. I wish I could remember it. Gosh. Let me see if there's. I know I saved certain. Maybe it's on here. I remember saving certain currencies or something like that. Oh, Sol. This is it. Sol. Solana. This was supposed to reach all-time lows and stuff like that, which is from a scandal or something. But somebody said in their vision or whatever that $12 right there, that these people would hold off, right? It would reach all-time lows, right? And that's what it looks like it's doing right now. From a scandal apparently, but the people that were holding on to this would always hold on to it. They would be very persistent and it would bounce back up. And that's one of the reasons this particular person had said this about this particular one. And I think this is a digital currency as well, right? Yeah, this is. And Solana Labs, yeah, there we go. But yeah, they were talking about this one and how it would reach lows, and I feel like that's what happened right here. And I'm not sure if there is a scandal right now or if that was just from everything dropping, but it was interesting to see that and then hear that before this so-called digital collapse or whatever, that before these people started selling off their stuff and all this other stuff, and a lot of people are taking the opportunity because of the crash, which is another thing that if you want to get into it or considered it, it's because of this crash is, a good time. Honestly, I was gonna do this video a long time ago, but like I said, I was just kind of not, I was kind of scared, I guess, of doing it. And yeah, it's just a bunch of other stuff and reasons. I was kind of scared, like I said. I'm not usually one to do these types of videos and talk about all this stuff like this, or I'm just especially right now, this is a weird time for me to do it, like I said. But yeah, I felt like I had to eventually do it now, for some odd reason, and I go off of my guts, and I hope whatever you do, if you do decide to do this, it is the best time to do it, I feel like. But you don't have to. Again, I'm just giving opinions. I'm here mostly to talk about my dreams again, but I wanted to give my opinion on other people who have talked about all this stuff, And again, the next thing I wanted to talk about, even though everything that's going on in the world, there are a couple things I will say about things coming to what is going to happen about the future, I guess. I've heard a lot of different stuff before I heard all this other stuff about transfers and all that. I had been looking at dreams because, well, I don't know. I believe in dreams. I've had a lot of dreams that felt super realistic, super detailed. In fact, that I could remember everything that's happened. I've had dreams where I felt like I was a different person completely, and I even remember a very specific one where I had lost someone very close to me in that dream, and I had infiltrated this location, and I started going on a pretty much killing spree, if you will, to get revenge on them because they had taken away someone that precious to me, And it was just very detailed, and it was me doing things I never thought was possible. And I know I can do some pretty impossible things, just because of my what would you call it? My mindset, I guess you could say. And I know I can do things that people don't believe because my mindset or determination, my willpower, whatever you would like to call it, is very different than those that are normal, I guess. A friend even told me before that I look at things more positively than them, and while I don't think I do, maybe I do to them, and maybe I have more than people normally have, I guess, and that can be considered something good, I suppose. But yeah, there's just a lot that I believe in dreams that it could be more realistic. But again, I'm going back to this dream and what was going on. I've heard a lot of stuff, and when I was listening to all this stuff, if you listen to about everybody talking about the end of times and you know different various things, there's actually a pattern if you look at them. A bunch of them. If you listen to a bunch of them, there is a very particular pattern about certain things. And what I saw was by the end of 2080, everything should be fine. Whatever was happening or whatever, it seems like around that time it's over, at least according to what they saw. You know what I mean? If you go off of the pattern of everything collected together, 2080 would be a time of peace, pretty much, and there would be no war, there would be no talk of war or anything like that. It would just be normal, I guess. And I don't know what's gonna happen. Another person said they looked at a signal of what was it? North Korea and South Korea being unified, which, as we know, there's North Korea and South Korea, not just one Korea. That's how they looked at it. And if you look at another, China supposedly starts it or something like that. And there's a bunch of various different theories when it comes to what, like, apparently the Bible or whatever says as well. I look into a bunch of different stuff, and apparently we might be considered evil. People in the U.S., like the U.S. like state government or whatever, they could be considered the evil or the person that's evil. And if you look at a bunch of different things, it's kind of interesting to hear that. And one other thing that was more recent was this person who is a female would be the president of, or I guess the ruler or whatever you want to consider it, of Russia, and they would be peace upon their people, was actually one I heard recently, which is very interesting to hear, because they would pretty much overthrow the current person. As we know, a lot of people consider him bad for what he's doing and stuff like that, and it's pretty bad, but I've also heard some other bad things about what the other people are doing as well, which both sides are bad. War is bad, pretty much. I'd rather have peace, and I know you can't always have both sides of everything at this current time and how things are right now. Don't get me wrong. And there's even talks of people telling others that they should get guns because, well, things are probably going to look bad over here, and I understand that. In fact, I have one just for protection's sake. And believe it or not, even my grandfather and my cousin have one, which I didn't know at the time, and still didn't know for quite a while. I guess they felt unprotected lately too, and it makes sense as time goes on. It's a lot of worrying in the world right now, and hopefully it'll come to an end. But I'm passing all this stuff and then start anyway. And going back into more of what I was talking about. My dreams and stuff like that. I want to talk about what I think is like what people considered visions. I'm not sure if I actually saw what I saw. It was kind of weird. I know people that say they see visions and talk and all this other stuff say they do it while speaking and praying and stuff, and that's not what happened with me. So I kind of doubt it's what they see. You know what I mean? This is more of like somewhat of a mid-dream or coming out of a dream, is the correct way I would put it. And what I mean by that is when I woke up, I had saw something. I had woken up, and I had closed my eyes. And you know how like everything is still like a certain color or whatever when you're sleeping. That's the way it was for me. But I had saw this rush of things, I guess you could say, like things rushing past in my vision or whatever, like forward into a straight line, if you will. And it was like an X or a circle with an X and stuff like that. And the thing that stood out the most, though, because I couldn't really tell whatever it was I was seeing there, was 555. And like again, it was 5 on 5 5 in a line on the left, and then one coming to the right and going into that line. And it was going several times, doing that left, right, different directions, going all into this line where everything was kind of vanishing. And 555, it's considered a number. Like, why would I see 555? It's kind of strange to just randomly see it. But if we go into looking up what 555 is, and like seeing just the meaning, again, change is coming. That's what it's saying. That's what I saw. But if you put in like what the angel version of it is, significant change is imminent. And again, change. And pretty much a lot of people talk about change coming soon and all this stuff happening. And it was just kind of interesting to see, in my opinion, whatever I was seeing, especially when I was like coming out of a dream and kind of going into this, trying to go back to sleep, and immediately after waking up kind of, and then seeing that, and then seeing numbers at that, which was kind of interesting, and that's what got me confused, and that's why I was thinking, is this a vision, like they keep saying? Like, that's kind of a weird thing if so, because I've never seen that, and I don't know if that is one, and I don't want to like say I am having visions and stuff like that, like when I'm clearly not, and I'm just probably imagining things, but yeah, it was just weird. And I have on here more things. Again, I put this on here just so it wasn't just blank screen and just doing things, but talk about myself and other dreams. Like I said, I don't know how long this video is. I don't know if this channel is gonna be something past this one video, and that's what I'm saying. If you want to, you know, do anything with this channel, if you want to send in your dreams and I can talk about them, I would appreciate it. If you want to hear more of my dreams, I am always welcome to share any of my dreams. I have actually wrote a few of them down, not all of them, but a few of them. And while we're talking about a few of these dreams, there's actually a couple of dreams I want to talk about, two of them in particular, or maybe three, depending on if maybe I'll save the one. I'll save one of them, just because it's a very personal dream, and I'm not sure if I should say it, or I guess I could, but it would say a lot about me as a person. Actually, I should say it right now, actually, and why I fear the dark, why I fear certain things and stuff like that, and yeah, so if you don't mind listening to my dream, I would appreciate it. So when I was younger, my father, believe it or not, he was very abusive to my mother. He wasn't like that to us. He was always kind and stuff like that, but it was obvious that he was abusive, It was always fighting and hitting and throwing objects out of the house and towards her, and she of course feared for her life and for us. That's why she wanted to make sure her top priority was getting us out of the house before anything started, and we would always be told to leave or go somewhere else or go to the other room or something where he wasn't there, and me as a kid seeing that, and my younger brother not even remembering any of this, or thinking he's just a good person, and not realizing all the bad things he did to her. And it's kind of hard, when you think about that. And this isn't part of the dream, but it's part of what is to come for the dream. And I'm saying this because it's kind of important for why I became more spiritual, if you will, and at least believe there is someone out there that you can consider God, I guess. And well, past more time and stuff like that, apparently we were all on the bed, me, him, and my brother, and he had a heart attack. At the time, we didn't know what it was. We were just like screaming out like he needs help to our mom and stuff like that, and she told us to go across, get our grandmother and call 911. And it was right across the street. We lived very close to her at the time. And yeah, that's what we did. And they took him away and all this other stuff. Everybody was crying. And eventually there was a funeral for him. And he, everybody repaid the respects and stuff. But I didn't really feel anything, I guess you could say, at the time. Because, I knew what was happening to my mother at the time as well. And I was just like, I didn't feel anything for him, I didn't feel hate, no, but I didn't feel sadness either, So I just moved on, and apparently shortly after that, I started having nightmares. And this is where the dream comes in. It lasted every single time I went to sleep. No matter what I did or what my mother did, nothing helped. The first time I had it, I remember this dream clearly. It was me crying, and I was originally standing and crying and freaking out and all that stuff. And the reason why was because to the left there was my dad, and to the right in front of me again was my dad. And there was two versions of him. One was good and one was bad. But the thing is, the good one was telling me to go, not to stay here, go to my mother and stuff like that. He's lying, don't listen to him. And the other one was telling me, come here, come with me, let's go together, pretty much. It's like trying to convince me to go with him, and all this